Hi everyone. Today we are touching on refinancing and is it the right time for you to look at refinancing? There are three pieces I want to point out when you're thinking about refinancing to really key in on. The first is, what is your interest rate? The general rule of thumb is if you can save 1% or more on your interest rate, definitely reach out to a lender and at least have the conversation about refinancing. So for example, if you're being charged 5% right now on your loan, and you can get 4% or you can get 3.5% or less, definitely take that initiative to reach out to your lender about refinancing and at least start the conversation. Note that the interest rates will vary between a primary house, if you're looking to refinance a second home, or if you're looking to refinance an investment property. So interest rates can go up if they're investment properties or second homes as opposed to if they're primary homes. And that's important to realize when they give you that interest rate quote. If you're sitting there trying to refinance a secondary home and you've heard that interest rates are right around 2.5% right now, and they say, well, you're at 3.25%, or if it's an investment property, know that that's because the interest rates go up for some of those houses if they're second homes or investment properties, because the mentality is the bank says, well, if you're ever going to sell a house, you're probably going to sell off your investment property or your second home before you'd sell off your primary residence. So they increase that interest rate because of that additional or new risk. So that's something to take into consideration when you're talking to them about that interest rate. The second piece to think about is, how far are you in your payment schedule or your amortization schedule? What is an amortization schedule? It basically breaks down how much of your payment you're putting towards your principal and how much you're putting towards your interest. Some of you probably already know that, but for those of you who don't, the longer you go and the more you get into that schedule. So as you're getting 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years into a 30-year payment, that's when you really start putting money towards that principal. So in the beginning, you start out paying a whole chunk, most of it towards your interest. And the longer you go, the less money you're paying in interest and the more money you're paying on the actual principal portion of the loan, which is a great thing to be able to get to. It's a great place to be able to get to. However, if you're 8, 9, 10 years into this payment schedule and most of that payment is going towards your principal, then in reducing your interest rate, it may not be worth it because you'd have to start that schedule all over again. And now you're going to start paying on interest all over again, when at that point in your loan, you're hardly paying anything in interest. It's really towards the main principal of the loan. So that's a very important piece too. If you're less than 5 or so years into your payment schedule, it's definitely a good time to have a conversation with the lender, especially if you can save that 1% or more in interest, because you're still paying a big chunk of that payment towards the interest, and you would save money in doing that, in doing a refinance in that situation. The last piece to think about is, and I touched on it a little bit originally when we first started the video, but is this an investment property or is this a primary residence? Because if refinancing can seriously bring up your cash flow, if it's an investment property, that makes a big difference when it comes to resale and being able to show how much money you're bringing in. It makes a big difference for your taxes. It really can save you a lot of money in different areas if you're collecting rents and now you have less of a payment to show that you're bringing in and you're netting yourself more. So that's a big difference too, is if it's an investment property, it can have additional tax benefits, cash flow benefits, income benefits for you. If you have any questions regarding any of this, please feel free to reach out. We're here to help any way we can, and we'll talk to you soon.